Hello, this is Beef, and welcome to another BeefyCraft tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about all the different smelting fuels in Minecraft. Specifically, we want to talk about what fuels are best for early game, mid game, and late game. By the time you get to the end of this video, you're going to know which smelting fuel is the best to use in every situation. So just stick with me and I'll show you how it goes. So for early game, we're going to look at coal and charcoal, as well as log, planks, and slabs. If you're real lucky and you spawn near a jungle, you'll have access to bamboo as well, so we'll look at that. And also these items here, which you may get access to if you're lucky enough to have an early game farm that produces these. First, we have to look at the different conversions. If you look at a log, it can be converted into 4 planks, which can then be converted into 8 slabs. If you're lucky enough to have bamboo early game, 9 bamboo equals 1 bamboo block, which equals 2 bamboo planks, which equals 4 bamboo slabs. So how do we measure smelting to determine the best fuel source? First, we look at the number of smelts per item of fuel. Next, we look at accessibility of the fuel source. Is this item easily obtainable? Next, we look at inventory. Is it stackable or non-stackable? To do this fairly, I thought we would put the equivalent of 5 of each item into the furnace with a stack of iron and see how many items we're able to smelt. Okay, so let me put a stack of iron into each of them and see how many we get. Okay, let's take a look at the coal. So far it's looking good. Can't really tell what's burning faster or what's burning slower yet. If I look at these, here are the planks. Planks are burning pretty fast. Well, okay, bamboo is burning real fast. Let's check these. These are burning super fast. Looks like these are already done. This is about what you'd expect. So I got 2 items from these. So these are doing less than an item on a stick. All right, but let's just go. Let's start from this side. So far, the coal's doing really well. It already has a bunch already cooked. 11 so far. Here we've got 12. Okay, so the logs are already finished, and we've got 7. Planks are still burning, and we've already got 9. So the planks are already doing better than the logs. So the bamboo's done with 11. Bamboo blocks have 7. Bamboo planks have 15. And the slabs are already at 17. And they still have a little bit more to go. So when it comes to bamboo, if you've got a bunch of it, it's worth it to make slabs because you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck. And for coal, it looks like we got 46 pieces of iron. And for charcoal, we got 47. I kind of think that's a fluke. I'm going to go ahead and just run that test back one more time, just because I don't believe that they should be different. I think that they should have the exact same amount, and I think that's just some kind of fluke. But so far, we've got coal and charcoal being pretty good with only 5 pieces, giving us 46 and 47 pieces respectively. And if we look at logs, logs gave us 7 pieces. Planks gave us 30 pieces. And slabs gave us 60 pieces. Moving on to bamboo. Bamboo gave us only 11. Bamboo blocks only gave us 7. For the planks, it was 15 and 30 for the slabs. Now these items, the sticks did very poorly at less than 1 item per smelt. Fishing poles a little bit better at 1 item per smelt, coming in at 7. Bows, 1 to 1, 5 items smelted from 5 bows. Crossbows, 1 to 1, 5 smelted from 1 item. And then bowls, 1 to 1. And if you're curious about how I get a bunch of XP from these items early game, check out my OP fish farm. There's a link in the description. So let's do a little bit of analysis on the results. Offhand, you might think that planks are the best option, but it's not the whole story. In order to get the same amount of smelts that you might from a stack of coal or charcoal, you would have to bring a few stacks of slabs. However, you may just bring a bunch of logs and a crafting table, and you can make your slabs on the go. And this is what I would suggest you do. Now, if you're in an area that has bamboo, bamboo grows extremely rapidly. Farms are very easy to make where you can automate the process of harvest. And this would be very suited mid to late game for smelting kelp, which we'll talk about a little later. But it is a pretty fast fuel source if you turned it into slabs. It's half as good as the regular slabs because you only get 4 instead of 8. In conclusion, and I think the best smelting fuel early game, it has to be a slab. And the best way to carry slabs around is to actually carry logs around and make slabs. Next, I want to talk about the mid to late game fuels. You have kelp, which is very easy to farm, and you have lava and super high abundance in the nether, and also very easy to farm in the overworld provided that you have dripstone. And then your what I would consider mid to late game fuels. Lava's in this category again. Also blaze rods. These can only be obtained from a fortress from killing blazes. That's very dangerous. There are extremely OP farms that you can make, but I consider these mid to late game farms. So let's run the numbers. Just going to do 1 to 1 to 1. We're going to do 1 blaze rod. We're going to do 1 lava bucket, and we're going to do 1 dried kelp block, since I know that lava does 100. All right, it looks like blaze rods are done. Let's see what we got. And we got 12 items. Okay, so the kelp is finished, and that did 20, no surprises there. And the lava did 100, no surprises there. So I think for late game, it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you need a portable fuel, I think blaze rods or kelp is the way to go. But if you have a static smelting rig, lava might be suitable for your needs. So here's a very simple overworld lava farm. You place a cauldron at the bottom, glass block 2 blocks above the cauldron. You place a dripstone underneath that glass block, and then you place a lava source block surrounded by blocks on top of it. You'll see that lava is dripping out of the tip, and over time this will eventually fill. You could also make a much bigger one like I've constructed here, and I'll just go ahead and finish this off really quick. And you don't even have to wait because we can speed the process up. To use the farm, just collect the lava with buckets. So eventually all of these will fill up like it just did. Let's just bring this back down. We talked about the furnace, but there's also the blast furnace. The blast furnace is unique in that you can only use it to smelt ores, which are your copper, iron, and gold. The benefit to using a blast furnace is that it will smelt your items in half the time, but you also only receive half the XP. The same thing is true for the smoker. However, the smoker can only be used to cook food. As long as we're talking about the smoker, we should talk about kelp. Kelp can be smelted up into dried kelp, which can then be used to craft dried kelp blocks. So 9 dried kelp gives you 1 dried kelp block, which if you were to smelt kelp with, you'd get 2 blocks and 2 dried kelp back from it. So you get a profit of a block and 2, more or less. I think it may be even a little bit more than that. So we'll be scoring these today on access to the fuel source, inventory, and time to smelt. So let's take a look at how these rated. Slab for me is number 1. Accessibility, it's everywhere except for the nether. No, it's gotta be a 4. How do I give it a half star? Let's just use an empty item frame. Next is lava. Accessibility. You can get it in the nether, you can get it in the overworld. The only place you can't get it is in the end dimension. For lava, the big issue with lava is the fact that it's not stackable and it cannot be transported very well. For that reason, I only gave it 3 stars. Blaze rods, stackable, can only be obtained in the Nether, and specifically only in a fortress, which means you end up having blaze farms. Far away from home, with no other farms running, it's kind of a time sucker. For that reason, I gave it only 3 stars. Dried kelp blocks are an excellent fuel source. It's available in the overworld. There are a lot of great farms to make it easy for harvest, and it smelts a lot of items. The only issue is that you have to smelt kelp to get dried kelp, which you then have to craft into kelp blocks. Now with crafters, it's not as bad, but still it's a bit of a hassle, so you lose a whole star for that. So overall, I would give planks first place for the best smelting for all around, beginning, middle, and end game. Well, that's all we got. If you enjoyed the content, please drop a like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one.